Hello YouTube, today I feel like bringing this topic to the table. Was Sanji's past an afterthought, or was it planned beforehand? Now, I think most of us are well aware that Eiichiro Oda, the author, likes to foreshadow a lot. Or better said, he likes to plant seeds he could use later in the story and turn into major events. This is the kind of thing that works best in a story like One Piece. It's something that really makes it special, and Oda really knows how to do this in a well-executed way. It's not for nothing that he's called the master of foreshadowing by many. You just have to look at some examples, like Lola's one-liner about her mom being a pirate. We all know how that turned out now. Or the reveal of Brook being a part of Laboon's group of pirate friends, which were shown back in the start of the Grand Line. And might I remind you, a whole lot of years happened in between those events. But this is something I want to dig deeper in another video. Feel free to subscribe. Relatively recently, we were shown Sanji's past as a Beansmoke, and some have claimed it an afterthought, saying it was kind of out of nowhere and very conspicuously recently made up. But the thing is, there was arguably a lot of foreshadowing and hinting done beforehand for it, which can be used as the opposing side of the spectrum's proof, so I'm going to go over some of them right now. Please also keep in mind that some of them might be only speculation, but they're still very interesting things to think and discuss about anyways, so let's get into it. We know that back in Enya's lobby, there was a quarrel with Luffy and Usopp about to going marry, and if we look back at the start of it all, which was Luffy disagreeing with Usopp about the matters at hand, we can actually notice something pretty interesting. In the heat of the moment and all worked up, Luffy was about to tell Usopp to pretty much leave the crew, but before he could even finish the sentence, someone snapped and hit their own captain. It wasn't Chopper, Nami nor Zoro. That's right, it was Sanji. Now you may ask, what does this have to do with anything? Well, it is true it's not something that seemed too out of the ordinary. Even Luffy realized he went too far shortly after. But Sanji was seriously mad at Luffy for saying something like that. No one else took those words as hard as him. Luffy was discarding Usopp for being in the disagreement. Yes, it was only in the heat of the moment, because Luffy wouldn't actually mean something like that. But maybe Sanji actually has a soft spot for attitudes like that, since he was reminiscing of Judge discarding Sanji for being too weak. Usopp and Sanji's situations are different things, but they're still similar. That's why Sanji took those words harder than anyone else, despite the fact that other crewmates will be more susceptible at losing their cool in such situations. Now, this is only speculation, and it may only be reading too much into things, but it's still something interesting to keep in mind and consider. We know Sanji's a very well-mannered guy and a gentleman, with attitudes like that of someone of high social status and with royal blood, which we know he has running through his veins. But back in Arabasta, when Sanji was talking on Dandamushi, he very specifically said, "I am Mr. Prince." This could be taken as if it was referencing that he was actually from a royal family. Now, this one is also speculation, but it's still not impossible to consider the whole prince thing being because of Sanji being the runaway prince of the Germa 66 Kingdom. I think this is the one people notice the least, and that's because it is something very hard to notice if you don't have Sanji's backstory's context. Back in the Jaya arc, Cricket explains he went through hell as a kid, and then claims no one knows what it's like to be hated by everyone as a kid just because of lineage. The interesting thing though is, the very next panel, we see everyone partaking in the conversation except for Sanji, who was just distant and taking a deep drag of his cigarette while not saying anything. Although just like the two before this one, this is only speculation, it makes sense if you put it in retrospect with Sanji's past. This one is pretty solid evidence. In the start of the Grand Line, when they were going up Reverse Mountain, Zoro makes a comment about how weird it is that a ship climbs up a mountain, and then Sanji implies he knows about stuff like that. This may be a reference to when he escaped of the Germa 66 Kingdom to the East Blue by going on ships with the routes traced there. This one is not speculation, it's a definitive foreshadowing for Sanji's past. We know that to be able to cross the red line you need to be someone very important, Back in Jaya, Sanji himself briefly said that he was born in the North Blue, and then moved to the East Blue and was raised there. It was something unprominent at that moment, but to go from North Blue to East Blue, you actually need to cross the red line. This was even referenced by Brook back in So. Brook explained that if the Sanji being born in the North Blue story was really true, then it was a really big deal, because only very important people could do stuff like that, and it raised a lot of questions about who Sanji's family truly were. This could very well mean that the events in Whole Cake Island were actually planned from very, very long ago. Stuff like this actually makes you appreciate more One Piece and how well made it is, and it makes you really respect Eiichiro Oda and how dedicated he is to his work. Okay guys, that was all of it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any more examples of foreshadowing, you can write them down there in the comments. Thank you all for watching the video, and like it and subscribe to me if you'd like to help me. And as always, until the next one.